All right, one last thing before strings. I want to talk about dynamic typing. So Python is a language that is really, really flexible about how we define our variables, and it gives us the ability to reassign our variables, not just from 99 down to 98, but we could go from 99 to the string none or zero in quotes, the word zero. So basically, it allows us to have variables change types, not just values from a number to a number or a string to a string, but the actual type. So for example, we could have awesomeness set to, what is this again? Boolean, capital T, true. And I could print awesomeness and it's the Boolean true. But then I could change it, the same variable awesomeness, it's not a different variable, and set it to a string, a dog. Or I could set it to something called none, which we haven't talked about yet, but none is another value. Notice it has a capital N, so it's not a string. It's the way that Python represents the concept of nothing. So it's different than zero. It literally means nothing. We'll talk more about it when we get to that point. Then we have awesomeness equals 22 divided by 7, and the result of that is a float. So this is just something that it's good to be aware of. But this is also something that is somewhat unique to Python. So there are other languages that support dynamic typing as well, but there are lots of languages that don't. So for example, languages like C++ are what's known as statically typed, which means when you define a variable as a Boolean, it has to stay as a Boolean. And if you want to change it, well, you actually need to make a brand new variable, and you can't really dynamically change things at all. So as an example of what that could look like, take a look at this code. We have a variable called not_awesomeness. We're setting equal to the number 5. But we actually have to say ahead of time, this is an integer. It's always an integer. And in C++, also notice the semicolons, it's going to always expect it to be an integer. So we could change it. We could change it to 7 or 20 or 1 million. But if we tried to change it to a string, like cool, it would throw an error and break our code. So that's it for this video. I just wanted you to be aware of the fact that Python is dynamically typed. You can change data types of variables at any point, unlike other languages like C++, where you have to define a data type from the beginning, and that variable always stays that way. All right, now on to strings.